We're going to do a little bit more of the wonderful Tax Supervising and Conservation Commission. In the last episode, we found out that your transit system will not be returning to the way it was. This decision was made behind closed doors. There was no equity analysis. There was no public hearings. People like this guy, look at this goofball, made the decision, and that's the way it goes. Just like when they cut originally, remember when they just unilaterally cut 20% of the service way back, and no public hearings, no nothing, we just do it. And so we found out that there is no bringing back your transit system, and we'll find out soon enough, sometime in fall, I imagine, what they have in mind for you serfs. We'll tell you what you need, serfs. We're making all the money. We steal all the government money, and then we impose our will over you. And you got to put up with it because you're a serf. And we are the technocracy. Okay, let's see what's going. Let's keep going.
Look at that. A follow-up question to this. Destination-less riders.
Yes.
That sounds like a euphemism for homeless folks.
Yes. See, this committee always gets it, man. But they don't follow through. They do what the board does. They hit with a good question, then they just drop it.
That are using your services to shelter.
Correct.
Correct. Does that seem right? And how...
Does it seem right? No, of course not. But nobody's stepping up because we live in a moral bankrupt society with psychopaths for leaders. So what you have is the public transportation systems of the shithole country called America as the last refuge for the dispossessed. Now, is he going to advocate killing them all? I mean, kill them all is very strong in America. We are one of the only civilizations in the world, and this is a fact, that hate ourselves. We hate our own people. Because one side hates the other side. It's the Civil War symptom. It's still going. But it manifests in different ways. It's not North and South anymore. It's Republicans and Democrats. It's right wing and left wing. And the poor are despised by the society because the society's been brainwashed to despise them. It's unfortunate to watch how easily our society is manipulated by these masters. I mean, look at how everybody went for the lockdown Ukraine, get the shot. The shots were a failure, and that's too bad. But everybody, half the world, half of America thought it was the greatest thing. Lock them. They wanted to put us in concentration camps. That's how psychotic our population is. So let's hear what he's saying here.
Gosh, that seems like if that is true, a unique situation for a driver. I mean, they're put in a position where it's almost like our libraries where the folks there have to become social workers, And I'm just curious if that's is one of the challenges that you're finding with this new, with the new world of transportation.
It most certainly is.
I'll start off and then I'll pitch over to you, Andrew, because I know
pitch over.
you're doing that directly.
You don't know anything. Sam, we know you got to pitch off to somebody. You're not a fast talker like Doug.
Last year, we had quite a few of our houseless customers that was on the system, and they were riding the system back and forth for shelter. And
right.
We started reaching out from an outreach standpoint and working with other businesses to help us to provide opportunity to...
What? It's news to me. Maybe Rippy knows something. I mean, he would have told me. Paz, I don't know. Paz doesn't know anything. Talking about you reaching
them for shelter and also opportunity for additional programs. We've partnered with the Multnomah County Sheriff Department. Currently in
the fucking police. The police have been good, man. I got to hand it to the police. Okay, they've actually been kinder to the people in bad shape than the fucking bus drivers. I've always found it amazing that the police look good. You know, everybody's like, defund the police. You watch the police beating the shit out of people all the time, killing people. But when it comes to dealing with these Trimet dispossessed, they're actually kinder than a lot of the drivers are.
And I would like Andrew to kind of talk about the program and kind of what we're doing going forward.
You're not doing anything.
Can everybody hear me all right? Is it? There we go. All right, thanks. Yeah, no, this is an excellent question and something that we're all faced with. And I would just say that, echo kind of, we have a resilient and extraordinary bunch of frontline employees that
Oh boy.
really are shouldering a big burden right now in this space. One of the things that we've been really proud of to accomplish over this last year is a much better partnership and relationship with the Multnomah County Sheriff's Department, but also the Multnomah County Behavioral Health Department as well, which kind of came along with that relationship. And so we have a couple different folks that we're working with to develop better models in terms of how to do.
Well, we're going to listen to a bunch of bullshit here. As we know, those of us that listen to the operation, and we spend a significant amount of our lives listening to this, we know they're not there. I don't know what he's talking about, but we listen to your operation. There's no crisis interventions teams. I've seen people tweet about it, and I heard a couple of max calls about it, but certainly, I think I heard one bus call once about they happen to be there, but certainly not prevalent.
To sort of open Trimet up for outreach activity that could take place with Multnomah County to support some of the most vulnerable folks that are out there in our system.
Yeah, now, okay, I said this in the last video. You're leaving people that are incontinent by no fault of their own, I'm sure. They're just old and sick or whatever. You're just leaving them there to rot. You're committing an actual a war crime. You're just leaving people. And I don't know how you can get away with that. I really don't. How can you just leave people standing there? They have no other way to get around. They have no money. You're just leaving them. I consider that a big deal. Apparently, I'm the only one.
We also have, which I think is a question that's coming up, but a safety response team here at Trimet that we've created, which is really designed to really reach out to folks and connect them with services.
Right.
And that's part of our reimagining.
You keep hearing this on every fucking at every city. I hear it in Boston. I hear it in Portland. I hear it in New York. Every city is using the same. We have this team of people, but in reality, it's like one team for the whole area, which means it basically doesn't exist. Okay, you need like 4 teams operating at the same time. An east side, a downtown, a west side, and a floater, let's say. You'd have to have an actual program, and they don't have that. They have one team. So it doesn't really exist. It's fake.
Public safety process that we went in over the last couple of years, which actually is led so aptly by Dr. Lewis. And that was an outcome of that group. But this is a front and center problem for Trimet right now. And how we approach it.
It's not just Trimet, it's every transit district.
It is going to be different than we may have approached it in the past. I think some of the tools that we have now are better than we've ever had before in terms of actually reaching good outcomes.
No idea what he's talking about. Maybe Rippy does. I have no idea.
Outcomes for some of the folks that use our system. And I'd not say that it's a entire houseless camp in the sense that there are only certain times usually where we see a large spike in writing, but a lot of that is occurring with weather too, when it's cold and wet outside. So I think people understand the humanity issue that we're faced with. But it does put our
they've tried to be, from what I hear, they try to be gentle with these people, but a lot of the operators are not gentle about it. The policy is let them ride. Okay. That's the unofficial policy. Don't bother them. But it's just not quite working out. Okay. It's not really, the operators are not happy about it, which is a problem.
Our frontline operators in just a really difficult circumstance.
Yeah,
So
they are. So that's why I'm going back to this. They need a much higher rate of pay because of this, much higher. 1/3 higher is perfectly reasonable right now, given what you're expecting people to do. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to do it.
we're working with the Multnomah County Sheriff's Department and Multnomah County Behavioral Health to develop models that do service outreach on our system,
it's all baloney.
connect people back to.
It's all baloney. There's no services. Don't give me the connect people back. These people are out there. They're the walking dead, okay? There's nowhere for them to go. Nobody cares about them, and there's no resources. If they were from Ukraine, they would be able to get a subsidy. But they're Americans, and Americans don't get shit from their government.
Opportunities that are in the area, because there are a significant amount of agencies that work with some of these folks, but a lot.
And we call them poverty pimps. They don't actually do anything except take money.
A lot of people have become completely disconnected from some of those. We see those folks and we interact with them. Our operators interact with them. Our safety response team interacts with them. Our security personnel, our transit policing force interacts. So we can help identify who those folks are, and it's about connecting them back to the area.
See, this is his bullshit. It's about connecting them back. Well, we know that's baloney. It's just words. There's no mechanism to connect anybody back, and you're leaving them stranded in the ditch. So stop lying.
Resources in an effective way, and not just throwing them off the system, essentially. So that's
yeah, right. Okay.
Right now.
Thank you. I also have the next question.
All right, let's do this one question at a time. I think I'll take. That's a good. We'll just break these videos into individual subject matters. So that's enough for this one.